Hey Dalen, Jessica Peterson here, who spoke just a few moments ago. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today and for accepting this free video. I'm super excited that you did because I know what I'm about to show you is going to make a significant impact on your business. And this is something that you can take and run with it and apply it today and start driving more traffic, more jobs to you guys every single month. So I know this works because we've done it, this exact same strategies, over 50 times before for other restoration companies just like you guys, and it's been absolutely amazing. Okay, right now you guys are getting about 6 people to your website per month organically, so that means you're missing out on 60 to 70% of your jobs every single month by not having these strategies in place. Okay, so today we're going to talk 3 main strategies. We're going to talk about your content keyword strategy, we're going to talk about your citations, and then your backlinks. Okay, so here we are on your website. You got a decent looking website. Looks like we have a click to call button. Yes, we do. That's awesome. Click to call buttons and having a form right at the top of the page, once you start getting people to your website, are going to help you with conversions. You don't want just people at your website, you want them to be converting when they land here. Okay, so make it easy on your customers because they will never search. Make sure that everything's right here no matter what page they land on. Okay, so when it comes to ranking on Google, one of the biggest factors is content. And that means having separate pages for every single service you offer, which it looks like you guys have, which is good. This is like the very basic fundamental needs Google wants you to have. Separate page for every service, separate page for every service area services as well. So you have service area pages, which is good, and you got service pages, which is good. So you have the very basic. Google wants this because it is confusing to customers and confusing to the Google algorithm when you combine pages with a bunch of these services and a bunch of these areas that you serve. It's very confusing. So Google wants dedicated pages for every service, so that way this entire flood page is all about floods and answers the questions your customers have about floods and has keywords for that area about floods. Okay, so whichever area you're based out of, your homepage and all of these services need to be that location-based keywords. So if we're talking Denver, this is Denver sewage, Denver mold, Denver fire, Denver water damage, etc. Okay, and then these other areas that you serve would have their own keywords for your services. Okay, so that is key. Now, when we talk content, there's different forms of content. There's video and there's images, and we want to make sure that those images are optimized. So if I go to save image as, notice how it just says mold. That's not an optimized image. You want local buyer intent keywords that your customers are searching for the services that they need. So this should be mold This should be Denver mold remediation, mold removal Denver. Okay, those are local buyer intent keywords, having Denver in there with the service that you're performing. Okay, so every image throughout your website needs to be optimized with those local keywords. So 99% of the time when your customers are searching for help, they don't know who you are. Most of the time, they've never been in this type of a position. And so they're not going to be looking for your name or your brand. They are looking for the service. And so your whole website needs to be built around those services and keywords that your customers are searching. Okay, so in addition to your images and video, you also need written content, which you really don't have any written content on this page. So you need 1,500 words or more of written content on your homepage. This homepage is the most important page of your entire website. It ties all the other pages together. You're supposed to have mini summary of each of the services that you offer. You can have information about your company and brand as well, processes, whatever, but it needs at least 1,500 words, and it needs to be written around your local buyer intent keywords. There's lots of variations of keywords. You want to utilize them the best that you can to capture as much traffic as you can. When you go after keywords that are like Denver Restoration Company, those are informational type of keywords. People searching those type of keywords are gathering information and doing research. Those type of keywords are not keywords that generally convert into jobs. So we want to focus, our main focus, on the keywords that create the jobs. Okay, so those are your buyer intent keywords like water damage restoration Denver, water damage removal Denver. Okay, so all of this written content needs to be based around that. Okay, and we need to have more than our competitors are doing. So if we were to look at your top competitor in Denver, we have ServPro, and yes, they're a franchise, but they're also absolutely beatable. Okay, you just have to do better than what these franchisees are doing, and these franchisees are not allowed to modify this portion of the website. Okay, they get what they're given, and so they can't have their own strategy or do anything that would actually benefit them, unfortunately. And so you have the upper hand. You can do that. So you just have to do better. So that means writing better quality content as well as more content. So you have more words on the page. Having more pages, more long form blog articles, all of those things are going to be really important for you guys, and help you to not only be more competitive, but to be able to outrank your competitors. Now, we know when your customers do a search, they'll do a search similar to this. And when they do, we want your website to be showing up. And there's three main areas that your website can have good position in. And the first is always going to be ads. And that's your cost per click ads and your local service ads. Now, these can be extremely beneficial and lucrative for you guys, as long as you have all your processes dialed in and your basic foundations set up correctly. If it's not, then you're not going to get a really good return on investment. Okay. Now these other two areas are even more important because they get most of the search volume when people search. So this is where your Google business profile should be. This is the Google Map Pack. Okay. You want your profile to be one of these top 3 businesses that are being called. Okay. Because if not, you're leaving 30% of your revenue on the table and literally handing your customers to your competitors. So in order to get in this top 3, there's several factors, but the most important are your citations, and that is simply listing your business name, address, phone number, and website, and putting those on a bunch of directories like the Yellow Pages, Glassdoor, the Better Business Bureau, Yelp, Angie's, House. All of those are awesome citations. You need a lot more citations than your competition has. And every single one of those citations sends additional information to Google to explain to Google what your business is about, the services you offer, and where. So those are important for you guys. And then this third section here, this is your organic section. This is the most important section because 60 to 70% of all people who search skip over the ads, they skip over the maps, and they come and they go to your website from here. So if you're not one of these top businesses here, then you're losing 60 to 70% of your jobs every single month. So in order for your website to show up here, it all comes back to the foundation of this website. Having the right type of content and keyword strategy. Because Google is sending robots, they're called crawlers, to your website. It scans every single image, every word of content to try and understand who you are, what type of services you have, and where you perform those services. And if you don't have that content, like right now you don't have the content, Google doesn't understand what you're about. And if Google doesn't understand, how can we expect them to send you customers, right? So this foundation is critical, and then you support that with your backlink SEO. And that brings us to backlinks. So this is Ahrefs, a paid tool we use to tell us how your website is performing. And we can see you have a rating of a 0 out of 100 in Google's trust float. So Google doesn't trust your website. And that is partly because of the quality of your site, but more so the power you're sending to the site. Like every tool that you use, your website also requires power, and we send power with backlinks. So you do need a lot of backlinks. You need more than your competition has, but it's important to understand that not all backlinks are created equal. The fact that you have 49 backlinks and still have a score of 0 says that majority of these are junky, spammy backlinks that are actually hurting you more than they're helping, okay? So we want to only be going after the good quality do-follow links of closely related businesses. So that could be from websites of other home service businesses, related vendors and magazines. And once you get those good quality links increase the score, increases Google's trust in your business, and helps you to promote your website and helps you to rank your keywords. Now, I'm kind of surprised, but you have been indexed for over 100 keywords, but you're only getting 6 people to your website. So you're missing out on tons of jobs every single month. So now if we look at your competition here, we can see that they have a score here of 3.2. So they got a low score as well, which makes sense because they're not able to do any SEO because they can't fix what's wrong, so it doesn't make sense, okay? But because the website, the franchise as a whole, has a really powerful website of a 77, it's able to pass that power back to their back pages, service pages, and this one specific franchise location. And so this location has been able to get over 700 people to their website, and that's because they are indexed for these local buyer intent keywords. You can see they have a ton of volume every single month, and they're ranked in the top position. So the higher you rank in position, the more the percentage of each of these keywords you get. So you could be getting as much as 37 to over 40% of the traffic for each of those keywords by being the top ranked, okay? So again, this is absolutely something that you guys can do. These guys are absolutely beatable, but you do have to follow these procedures that I have just shown you today. So please feel free to take this information, run with it, apply it yourself, and start driving that traffic and helping more people. But if you decide you'd rather focus on what you do best and have a partner in growth, then give us a call at Peterson SEO, because this is our specialty, and we do specialize in working with restoration companies just like you guys, okay? So please feel free to ask any questions that you might have, respond to my email, or give us a call, and we would be happy to chat. Thank you so much for watching, and I do look forward to hearing from you soon.